What comes to mind when you hear the country and word Kyrgyzstan? Unsafe, dangerous, dirty. Well, what if I told you it's the complete opposite? Join me on this trip around Kyrgyzstan, Soviet history, mountains and landscapes. We're in the capital now in Bishkek. The 12-day road trip starts now. Let's go.
There are places in the world that everyone's heard of, and then there's places that barely show up on a map. Most people couldn't tell you where Kyrgyzstan is, and even fewer have actually been there or know its history. Tucked away in Central Asia, formerly part of the Soviet Union, this is a country shaped by its Soviet history, vast mountain ranges, and landscapes that feel completely untouched by time. And now, after wanting to come here for years, drawn by the remnants of the USSR, I embarked on a road trip to a former closed Soviet town for the extraction of uranium for nuclear weapons, to see how life remains. So once again, join me on this ever so long road trip through the mountains to Mailuu-Suu. This is Kyrgyzstan.
Well, it goes without saying, to do a road trip, you need a vehicle. And in Kyrgyzstan, with the mountains here, the off-roading, they need a good 4x4. I've had it in Utah, Arizona, the Jeep, but look at this bad boy. It is massive. Oh my God. I underestimated so much how big it is when I came on person compared to the photos from the rental company. It's massive, literally, it's the same height as me. It's crazy. I'm just nervous driving this big machine around Kyrgyzstan, but the main roads are fine. Like, it's just like normal. It's actually quite quiet, to be fair. When I went to Belarus, it reminds me of this: open, spacious roads and just Soviet architecture around. Anyway, today's plan is heading down south towards Osh. It's a long journey, about 7-8 hours, because we want to go to a place called Mailuu-Suu to see what it's like, which I'll explain along the journey what it's about. But yeah, it's time to get in this car and ace the Kyrgyzstani mountains. Let's go. Right, and the journey begins, guys. The start of a 10-day trip in Bishkek and ending in Bishkek as well. Let's see what the Soviet roads bring us here in Kyrgyzstan. Hopefully it all goes to plan. Who knows? There may be a flat tire along the way, or not. I'm hoping not. So what you get in many post-Soviet Union Republic countries is the Lenin statues gone, demolished, taken down. And they're usually in the NATO countries such as Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia. More or less they're all gone. But here in Kyrgyzstan and in Belarus that I went to last year, they still remain. Obviously Belarus has got some links to Russia still, so they probably still remain for that reason. But for Kyrgyzstan, I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure why they still remain. Is it too much of cost to take it down? I don't know. But yeah, you are seeing a lot as well, I go past, Russian number plates, which tells you how much Russians like to come to Kyrgyzstan in summertime. But apart from that, it's now time to head into the mountains, the range, high altitudes. Can this car hack it? I'm sure it can. It's a beautiful day. You can just about see, can't really see now with the the trees in the way, but you can see the mountain landscapes in the background. So yeah, let's conquer this now and head off through the Kyrgyzstani mountains. Well, we've hit our first bit of traffic in Kyrgyzstan at the toll. Who would have thought there'd be a toll in Kyrgyzstan? But there is. I don't know how long I'm going to be here. But I'm just creeping forward as it is. Not good, guys. And I'm not convinced I'm in the right lane now as well, because there's two cash ones. That's a red signal that you can't get that one, and that one's cash and card. But I can't go in that lane now. It's too late. So maybe I've committed to a card. So hopefully they take MasterCard. They should do. But you never know. And what is that green like contactless? I don't understand what that is. And a QR code. Oh God. What do I do if I get to the front and I can't pay? That is my dilemma. Guess this is the realities of driving through Kyrgyzstan. The unexpected, always expect. This is getting crazy now. I'm in the middle of all this as well. This is not ideal at all. And then this is gridlock again. Like, you got 1 queue, 2 queue, 3, each trying to barge in. We're trying to barge in today. It's just domino effect. So yeah, I'm not in the most ideal of positions in the middle of it all. Contactless card not supported. God. Right, I'm gonna have to pay by cash. Hello. It's not working. Card.
Hello.
Cash. 50. 50.
Terminal.
Hey?
Terminal.
Oh, in there. Okay, spasibo. Right, at least we're through. Whew. Done. I don't want to experience that ever again, but I'm gonna have to tomorrow when I come through this way. Anyway, calm down. Let's go to the mountains. Well, as we go up into the mountains, the sky is definitely getting darker. Windy turns all the way up. And then guess what we got to do when we get up there? Do it the way back down. So this climate conditions are completely different to Bishkek. Bishkek was no cloud in the sky, 30, 35 degrees. I don't know how cold or hot it is now, but with the mountains, it's definitely going to be a lot cooler. And with very unpredictable weather conditions. Kyrgyzstan is 90% as we get overtaken. Madmen, absolute madmen. Kyrgyzstan is 90% full of mountains. It's unbelievable. So the weather to predict it is very hard. But yeah, you can already see on the maps there. It zigzags all the way up and then back on ourselves, increasing in altitude as we go along on these sketchy roads. So what you see here is a monument I've had on my eye for a good year and a half or so. I've been thinking the day I see it, it's going to be such a moment. And here it is, in the flesh. That way, you can go to Lake Issyk, and this way is the way we're going, all the way down to Osh, which is 400 odd kilometers still away. But look at this, this would have been here since the Soviet Union, sending you in directions left and right. And imagine what we have in the UK. M40, you can either go M25, junction east or west. But note here, you have a whole monument to represent the different directions you can go here. I was going to say in the Soviet Union, I wish it was, but here in Kyrgyzstan. And look how big it is. I think I'm going to be, let's just go up and see how big I am compared to this, because it is massive. So I'm here. And that is the sign. Wow, you can't get it in camera shot, that's how big it is. But yeah, all the way in the mountains where we just came to now down to where we're going. This monument, to make it as clear as possible of which way you need to go if you don't have a sat nav or map. We have some company on the road. Our first sight of some horses on this trip. We don't know already, they're very popular here, horses, even in Central Asia in general. Horses in the road, Songkul Lake, Issyk Lake, they're everywhere. So it's very popular to do horse backtracking over like 3 or 4 days here. So yeah, the first horses of many I'm sure. But look at this road now, it's beautiful. Straight roads, no bumps, no hills. And I'm on my own, been on my own for like 10 minutes now, so yeah, haven't got any madman overtakers. Still got a long ways to go, about 3.5 4 hours to go until our end destination, so we won't be getting there until about 9ish PM. And the weird thing is, I don't know if I have a room or not. I've texted on WhatsApp in Kyrgyzstani Russian language, trying to confirm, but it will say, yes, we will welcome you, yes, we will welcome you. It's not really a confirmed thing, so hopefully I've got somewhere to sleep tonight, otherwise I'll be searching for somewhere around Tash, Kumur, that's where I'm staying, the little village. Or it'll be in the back of my car, I guess, who knows? Right in the outback. You don't know what we're going to get here. You don't know what we're going to get. And just like that, out of nowhere, it's raining from the heavens. This was always going to happen on this mountainous road journey, 8 hours long. You're not going to get clean skies in the mountain range with the high altitude for as long as you want. So I don't think it's like this when I get to my end destination. It's meant to be about 35, 39, 40 degrees with a UV of 11. 11. That's crazy. So hopefully this does pass, but although it is getting very heavy now, I'm quite concerned. God, I need to get into concentration mode and take it slow. But yeah, 1 hour and 10 minutes until we get to the supermarket for a food shop, and then I think another 2 hours after that. So time to lock in, as they say. Spasibo. Thank you. Well, as the sun sets down now, leg of our journey. 2 hours to go. We get there at 10 p.m. Hopefully they'll be awake, or the door will be answered, or that I can be let in, or there'll be space for them. Who knows what's going to happen. But yeah, we're on the way. It's been a long old day. Just want to get there now. Just want to get there and then wake up tomorrow and head to Mailuu-Suu. Haven't even got there yet. It's just the first leg. And then we've got to do the exact same journey back to Bishkek tomorrow afterwards. So all good so far. Let's just get there and hope they'll answer the door. We've made it. Finally. What a scare that was. Jesus. Well done, after a long 8-9 hours of driving, we finally made it to Tash, Kumur. And this is the room. £8.53, and this is what you get: a double bed and a single bed. That journey at the end was horrific. I went to Utah and did driving in the sand, and that was sketchy, but that, driving in the dark, having people and trucks and cars trying to overtake you in the dark, going up a mountain, zigzag and up and down for 45 to an hour, I've never felt more mortified in my life. So I'm just happy the hotel had a room, and I've paid, and I'm sleeping now. And then tomorrow we can enjoy in the sun, in the broad daylight, driving to Mailuu-Suu. Peace out until the morning, and I'll see you in Mailuu-Suu. Adios. Good morning, people, and welcome to a bright and early start here in Tash, Kumur. Got a few hours kip. Struggled to get to sleep. I don't know why, probably the energy drink that I was having yesterday. But we're now on our way to Mailuu-Suu, the highly anticipated destination of this trip, and yesterday, of course, with that extra long journey. I worked it out, I think, overall with stops, 9 to 10 hours. I don't know how, but it was. But we're only 1 hour away from Mailuu-Suu now, which isn't a closed Soviet town because there's still people living there, but in terms of abandoned things and shops and houses, it's definitely involved in that. So we're going to check out now, see what's still left standing, what isn't, and what life is there like in Mailuu-Suu now. Well, the sun may not be out, but it's definitely a lot more pleasant to drive this in daytime compared to nighttime. It was unbelievable. Like, I felt so nervous and nerve-wracking for an hour and 20 minutes, I'd say, when it got to sunset and then darkness. And then complete darkness was just, I don't think I blinked. Let's just put it that way. You had trucks coming left, right and centre. You had cars overtaking. You couldn't see because of the headlights of the different cars. It was sketchy, to say the least. I've been humbled again. Another Honda Jazz going for the overtake. No mercy over here. Oh, and I've got another one. Who's this guy? Oh my god, it's even worse. Honda, I don't even know what it is. Well, it's not just in Bishkek that they're crazy, it's also down near Tash. It's the whole country. Unbelievable. Now, can you see that barbed wire fencing just to the right of me? Well, that's not there for any old reason. That is Uzbekistan. That is the border between the two countries, which here down near Tash, it goes borderline with the road we're currently on. But during Soviet times, that wouldn't have been there. You could have gone through Uzbekistan and Kyrgyzstan without any checks, any border points, any military, etc., without any hassle whatsoever. But now, that's not the case, unfortunately. So I wonder if Uzbeks and Kyrgyz people prefer that or not. Would they prefer the Soviet times and going through seamlessly, or now having their own country segregated with the border points? Who knows? I don't know. But it goes to show, during the Soviet times, how open and accessible all the states were. You could have gone from Kyrgyzstan here all the way to Estonia, near Britain in a way, all the way to the east of Europe, but to the west of Kyrgyzstan. So the sheer scale of the Soviet Union was incredibly massive. The amount of road trips you could be doing on that, boy. I wish I was born in that time to do that. I could have gone from the entire Russia near China all the way to Lithuania or Latvia or Estonia in Europe. It would have been unbelievable, but hey, it's not a thing anymore, unfortunately. So we have to live
barbed wire fencing between Kyrgyzstan and Uzbekistan. So just before the actual arrival into Mailuu-Suu, we've made it to the official signpost, if you want to call it. Obviously, during Soviet times, if it's an important place of working or living, they always went full out with their designs for the welcoming to, in this case, Mailuu-Suu, which, as I mentioned yesterday, was a closed Soviet town for the production and extraction of uranium. Now, the extraction of uranium was found in these mountains over here. All of this uranium was extracted and sent over all across the Soviet Union to places like St. Petersburg or Moscow, places like Minsk even, anywhere big needed to build nuclear weapons during the Soviet times, especially during the Second World War and beyond. It was all done here at Mailuu-Suu. Now, after the collapse of the Soviet Union, the whole town, village was abandoned. You had people coming from Moscow, from St. Petersburg, from Minsk, from Kiev, from Lviv, from Estonia and Tallinn, all to work here with good paid well jobs. And there was houses full, buildings full, there were schools, there were cinemas, supermarkets. It was like a normal living life. And people, from reading online, loved living in these times. But since the collapse and the uranium mountains were no longer safe to produce and extract, it's now been deserted with just the remains of the people who have lived there or want to remain there. So you'll see further when we get down what's abandoned and what still remains. But thankfully, this piece of architecture still remains. Well, on that note, maybe not. I don't know what's happened to the car. I think the car battery's dead. I've just had some locals try and fix it. Hasn't worked. So they've called a mechanic to come and meet me. And I'm in probably the worst place you could be, Mailuu-Suu, the most derelict place. But luckily they stopped and helped. They put their battery in, didn't work. They tried to all sorts, didn't work. Moved the tyre, didn't work. So there's a mechanic coming now, and we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, guys, I don't know what happened. Either I left the battery on overnight with the key on a bit, or maybe I drive. I don't know. Maybe it's the journey time from Bishkek. Who knows? But this is what you get when you're in Kyrgyzstan. Nothing goes to plan as it does now. So, Yusuf, thank you, spasiba. Okay. I now go Mailuu-Suu. Okay. I go Mailuu-Suu. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. Oof. We're back in business, guys. I think for now at least. Yusuf, the man, he's fixed it. Who would have thought in the middle of nowhere you had a mechanic to fix? That was scary. I didn't know what I was going to do.
YouTuber.
Да. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Да.
Instagram какой?
Instagram, да.
Instagram.
Да. Google Translate. What would you do without Google Translate? There you can see the USSR symbol on this guy that looks like he's about to, I don't know, go into space, throw a javelin, who knows. And then over here, you have the entire flag that was once upon Mailuu-Suu before the 2000s. And there you have Lenin, there on the wall, which his face would have been everywhere, not just in Mailuu-Suu, but all over the Soviet Union. But as you can see now, the whole place is derelict, abandoned, and trashed to pieces. There's not a lot here now, apart from the walls. These walls have been battered and with the glass everywhere. But for our entertainment purposes, there is still some nice looking posters on the wall from the old Soviet times that still remain 20, 30, 40, whatever years on. And just thinking back to when Mailuu-Suu was a popular place to live in for families with their kids. They would send them here to obviously get an education, but as soon as the Soviet Union collapsed, it wasn't really a sustainable place to live in and therefore get an education in. So here behind me is the was the supermarket even, where all the USSR family members and friends would have came here during their days when it was a much more popular life to get food and drinks. Is there anything inside? Not what I can see, of just stacks of shelves. Yeah, food,
drinks, supplies, everything to live a healthy and sustainable life here in Mailuu-Suu whilst working for the uranium mines. And it would have been not just any sort of food, it would have been the best foods, the best qualities in order to live the best life possible, because it wasn't an easy job working extracting uranium because of the dangers with it, how far you weigh are to everything. So they would have got the best foods from all over the USSR to stock here and supply. But I'm not too sure why they haven't reopened this, because it's a big building compared to these ones here that you can tell are very new. But yeah, this here was the former supermarket for all Mailuu-Suu residents until the fall of the Soviet Union. Look at this whole space. For a small village like Mailuu-Suu to have this much space and free area to access on weekdays or weekends, whenever it is, you wouldn't get that in small villages. But here, they built it purely because the families here and how many people there were. But now, it's completely dead. You would have families here on weekends and weekdays, going out, walking through to work, families with their kids. Mailuu-Suu does not end there. This is where they would have watched the football games, playing live, whatever teams would have came in to play Mailuu-Suu. And you can see the stands that were built. Now these stands, I don't know how many it would hold as a capacity, but it's a decent amount, and it's not a usual amount for a village. So yeah, there was definitely a high demand for capacity and for sports as well. You would have got teams all over the USSR coming here at some point, maybe in different closed places like in Estonia or in Minsk in Kyrgyzstan as well, playing the fellow residents living here in a closed Soviet town. But I'm rather surprised, the pitch is in quite good condition, and they've got some replacement Astro there as well. So maybe they play sport here as well, who knows? But this is what it was, at least. So on our final stop here in Mailuu-Suu, we made it to the mountains where the uranium would have been extracted and produced in these very mountains that you see. And here you can see also the pipework that would have came from the factory across the river all the way back to the centre, where it would have gone to the factory to get produced and then made into nuclear weapons across the USSR. But obviously that's no further now. So what have they made instead? They've made it a ceramic making company, so for like, I don't know, jars, for candles types, etc. That's what the factories use there now. There's actually a quite distinctive smell, whether that's uranium or something else here, I'm not too sure. But that is the end of the journey. There was a nice mural over there across the river at the factory, but they've shut it for roadworks. Just my luck after today. But anyway, that is the episode done. I was going to say the journey done. The journey still goes on, but the journey to Mailuu-Suu's done. I've now got to drive back to Bishkek. I'm already delayed as it is because of the bloody car problem I left on my headlight. So it's looking like another night drive. A long drive, the same way I came, in reverse. That is Mailuu-Suu done. Well worth the probably 20-hour round trip and a broken engine. I think so. Soviet history complete for this video. I'll see you on the next one in Kyrgyzstan. See you later.